It's recording.
Hey, so good afternoon. Welcome, Baylor. I am so glad to be here. My name is Herschel. I am with SIM. We are an interdenominational mission organization. I have to slow down because these are long words for me. We serve in over 70 countries, and we have over 4,000 workers out there right now. And so what we do is we send people around the world. We're a general mission to work in different countries, doing anything from teaching. I've worked with street children in Nigeria. We have doctors, we have businessmen, we have physical therapists. We have people like accountants doing work in different countries so our business offices can run correctly. We have businessmen running businesses, but also running the mission organization in some of these different countries. We're on 6 continents, and like I said, we're in over 70 countries right now, should be 80 soon. But in some of these countries, we can't even talk about the names. Like I lived in Nigeria, but I was in North Africa last year, visiting some of the countries we're doing work in. And one of the beautiful things about that is we partner with other companies / organizations, we don't call them orgs there, doing this work so we can glorify God. Because my friend Matt Prine is on here from World Venture, but we're not about our names, SIM, World Venture. We're about God's name and making his name known, making Jesus known. So when we partner with these companies to make businesses that in fact hire locals and can put things into the local economy and make a difference there. So we do things like that. Educators, we have teachers, and need for teachers is great. So if you have a teaching degree, you are needed. If you have any degree and you want to use the way God's wired you and the passions he's given you for his glory, we need you. We're called to go. I mean, it's said in Acts, it's said in Matthew, it's said in Luke. God is calling us to go make disciples. And God is calling us to make his name known. So what about you taking the opportunity to do that? What does that look like? I'd suggest taking anywhere from the first 2 to 7 years of your life after college, if you can, and going and serving and seeing what God has for you, the way he's wired you, and seeing how he uses you to make a difference for his kingdom. I'm going to show you a video that talks a little bit about SIM, but I'm asking you to think and pray about that as you watch this. Where can you fit in to know what God is calling you to do? What does that look like? I have to figure out how to share screen all over again. I found it. Sorry, I'm a little slow on this because I'm a little older than y'all, but thank you for bearing with me. So let's show this video on SIM. And let's go.
There are so many people living and dying without ever knowing who Jesus is. We are willing to do whatever it takes to change that. For over a century, SIM has been a partner in global mission for those dedicated to crossing barriers and making a difference. The 3 founders of Sudan Interior Mission, now known as SIM, recognize that the task of bringing good news to hard places must be carried out in collaboration with others. The task is just too massive and significant to undertake alone. When people see SIM, they see a wide array of ministry opportunities in more than 70 countries. There are 4,000 workers in SIM laboring with others to respond to need, proclaim the gospel, and equip the church. Thousands of churches send these workers from over 65 nations and partner in ministry through strategic involvement, prayer, and financial support. SIM invites people to journey with us in pursuing God as we seek to be culturally inclusive and distinctly evangelical, weaving gospel proclamation together with addressing human need. Our long-standing and growing experience is embodied by authentic diversity and practiced prayer. As we stand on the shoulders of the obedient and daring women and men who came before us, we remember their faithfulness, and we continue to press on so that one day there is no corner of the world that hasn't heard the name of Jesus.
So there's over 2,000 opportunities worldwide. And I cut the part off where it says go to simusa.org/get started. So I messed that up. I'll put a couple links in the chat box if you're able to see those later, but simusa.org/get started. And that would be a place to go. But one of the fantastic things is we're field led. And what that means is even though we have a US office, an international office, What we do is our field leaders out there decide what's going on in that field. And there's a need in all these places, and you can use your giftings and your talents. If you want to do that short term, I'll show you a video in a little while about opportunities to do short-term missions for a semester and maybe even do an internship there and get credit through Baylor University. And so you can get credit and go on a trip. It's not a bad deal, but it's really cool to see how God's working around the world. If you've never been on an international mission trip, I really want to beg you to go, because it will be life-changing and it'll be worth your time and worth the effort to go. I had never been, and most people's mission stories are different than mine. I had never been on a mission trip until someone invited us to move to Nigeria. Actually, they invited us to go, but my wife and I both heard it differently. And less than 2 years after we were invited, we lived in Nigeria with our kids. And that's where I worked with street children. My wife worked with widows. My gosh, I thought we were going for what I was going to do, but it was really neat to watch what God did in and through my wife. And one of the other key things to know as you're looking at missions, first of all, a question I have for you is, what are you doing now? Where are you serving now? Are you serving in your local church? Are you serving in your community, whether it's through Mission Wake or someone else? I mean, what are you doing now? Because really, if you're not serving here, it's not going to be magical when you get overseas. You're not going to have this compassion, this passion all of a sudden to go do these things. It needs to start where you are. So I implore you to do that. The other thing you need to know is we think we're going because God is going to use us greatly. And I think I have way more self-worth when I think that about myself. I know that's what I thought, but it's not true. God took me there to change me. He took me there because I kept him first, and I was a servant. I was putting him first. But once I got there, I had to keep him first above everything else and serving him. And then I had to put my family after that. And then if I put my ministry third and I served and I leaned into God and I let him change me, he transformed me and he used me for his glory. But it was really cool to use my wife, watch my wife and how he used her to teach widows through music. She taught them English. And really neat thing, if you guys don't know what EvangeCube is, it's a little cube that folds out and tells the story of Jesus giving his life for them and building a bridge to the gospel. And she taught them how to use that and how to share that in their native language. So she taught them English, but also using Hausa, which was their native language, how to share the gospel. And it was beautiful to watch her and watch how God used her. So I will tell you, use your passions. If it's guitar playing, if it's music, if it's art, God's got a call for that too. There are things you can do with that. I'm going to share my screen one more time in a second if I can figure out where I need to go and talk about a couple other things. Let's see, the launch internship video is what I want to go to now. So we're going to share screen. Hopefully this will go a little smoother. Yes, share this screen. Share. Start.
They're launching us into missions. So they're launching us into cross-cultural servanthood.
I've always wanted to see what it looks like living as a doctor overseas, being both a doctor and a missionary.
If God wants to be somewhere, he will continue to be there no matter what people try to do.
Whether we go physically or whether we just listen to one another about the needs and about the experiences, I think that as Christians, we have a responsibility to the world.
Talking to the recruiter and everything, just the missionaries from Uruguay said that they had a need for some more people, and they were very open to having an intern, and so I was all for it. My primary task in Uruguay was working with a before and after school program with kids, helping them learn a little bit about the Bible, teaching them some stories, as well as helping them with their homework and schoolwork, and giving them opportunities to excel in that.
This summer I served in Nigeria, and primarily I lived in Jos. I went as a medical missionary. I'm a pre-med student. I was able to shadow and observe a lot of different residents and surgical doctors.
Before Japan, I wasn't really interested in going overseas, but God burdened my heart for Japan. It's like where I'm from, you can share your faith and people are open to hearing it. often. Whereas like in Japan, it's like even though the country has religious freedom, if you try to share, you can't. They won't listen to you. I would say God is teaching me to have more patience and understanding.
I do play violin. I've been playing since I was 4 years old. So I did bring that to Nigeria, and I got to play at a worship session. Being in Nigeria, you quite literally need the Lord every moment of every day. I literally had to depend on him and had to trust him and had to lean into him in order to get through the day, because there are 180 million people in Nigeria alone, and half the population being Muslim. You have to trust that the Lord is sovereign and that he is working.
The launch internship program was such a good experience, and I think everyone interested in missions, especially overseas, should definitely check it out.
So the unique thing about SIM that I found early on when I was researching was just the commitment to prayer. You know, it says SIM by prayer. They're not exaggerating. They really take an initiative to pray for their missionaries, to pray for their staff, to pray for their interns even, which I found extremely unique in the context of a missions organization, and something that they took very, very seriously. I mean, it's a call from the Bible.
So, what's God calling you to do? What are the opportunities that you have? How's he wired you? I mean, if you even go to our website and look at SIM's launch program, it's really neat.
I'm Jonathan Cross from.
There's different opportunities, but even if there's an opportunity that doesn't match your skill set, if you go online and say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do, there's a possibility we can mix and match that. During COVID, none of our people were able to go internationally per se, but we even had one person go from Texas, and he went virtually. And he's an accountant, and he was able to set things up and still do his internship while living in Texas, and actually taking a full load this summer so he can graduate a semester early. So, I mean, it's really cool how we can do things and how we can change things to make it work. What I love is how God's wired us all individually, but he uses us just like he uses parts of the body. We're all made to work together for his glory. So a choice of over 70 countries, choice of anything and everything, since we're a general mission, God can use, because we want to respond to need so we can proclaim the gospel and make making disciples. We're partnering with the local church wherever we are. And what that looks like is even one of the kids, one of the street kids ministry I worked in, is now running his own children's ministry in Nigeria, in a different part of Nigeria. Some of the others are serving within the ministry as we train people up and teach them what to do so they can make a difference in their country. So that's what I have for now. Do you have any questions, Matt?
Yes, actually, I do have a question, Herschel. I'm curious about timelines. You know, one of the things I think about for students, you know, thinking about a summer trip, you know, doing an internship over the summer, or just, you know, a 2-month, you know, short-term deal with SIM. What's a timeline? When do they need to think about applying? Who do they need to talk to first? Is that you? Is that somebody else? What does that process look like?
So you're welcome to connect with me first. That's easy. They should have, hey, Cody, do you guys give out our information, or what does that look like? I'm sorry, that's a really good question, Matt. Sorry, you opened a question that I have.
I believe your contact information will be on our missions week page, but also that we will keep it like on our normal missions, Baylor missions page. So yes.
You can look up, I put a couple links in the chat box. I don't know if you can see it or not since it's recording and I've got mine open. I don't know if it shows it, but my phone number's in there. And then if you just want to start the forms, the SimUSA Connect with Us, simusa.org Connect with Us is in there. And that's the way to go. If you can't find it, just go with Serve. There's a place to fill it out, but it's real simple. Or call me 281, which is a local Houston number, 281-723-5600. 3411. And that's an easy way. That's the only number I have. You can text it, you can call it. You don't have to put it everywhere in the world though. But feel free to reach out to me. I tell you to connect with me on Facebook if you're on there, but really I'm not. They threw me off. So don't worry about that either. But yeah, I don't check much social media. Sorry about that. Texting, calling, WhatsApp, it all works. But Matt Prine World Venture, yeah, we're looking for things by the end of the year to know that people want to go for the summer. I think that was the question you asked that I didn't even answer. Sorry about that. But there's other opportunities, maybe next fall or next year or something like that. So there's always opportunities. And if you don't want to go out of the country, we could look at setting you up in our SIM USA office, depending on what your skill set is.
Now, if students had questions about, what life is like in a particular country or context, is there a way that you could put them in touch with any of your current field workers so that they could begin to ask questions? Is that a possibility or no?
Oh yeah, or depending on where I've been, if it's the Middle East, I've been there. North Africa, I went there last year. Nigeria, I lived there. So yeah, if it's not that, we can connect them with local field workers. And here's a cool thing. We'll pray for you. We'll talk to you. There's no expectation besides a conversation. You don't have to go with us just because you talk to us. I mean, my friend asking the questions is with World Venture. You can check out World Venture too. There's great mission organizations. It's about God and his glory. It's not about us. SIM's a great org. We do a lot of different things, and it's a great place to serve. We never looked anywhere else. I don't think Matt ever looked anywhere else besides World Venture, so it's very simple. But there's many choices out there, and Baylor is highlighting a lot of fantastic organizations. So we're not in competition. Some people might think we are, but we're not. The competition is really just to get you out there, to help you see that you're called to serve. That's it. And so understand that there's a lot of money to be made in the US, and sometimes that's what we get about, but the causes are out there, whether it be street children, whether it be the human trafficked. We're working with human trafficking in different countries, and saving that. So whatever it's with, there's causes out there that you could serve in and help with. So we'd love to help you connect that way. Cody, do you have any questions or anything I need to answer?
I don't have anything else for you.
Okay, I'm going to put one other thing in there, and hopefully these will all work, and hopefully you can see it in the chat box. It's just what makes us a little different, some general information about SIM. It would really help if it worked. There you go. And did I put, I don't think I put our Stop, Consider, Go, but SIM has a little booklet called Stop, Consider, Go, which is fantastic. So if it links, it's great. And if not, I could send a digital copy to Dom or someone else. It really talks about the walk to the mission field, how there's a lot of questions and a lot of time that you need to pray in, because it doesn't stop. It talks about, where do I start? Waiting for a call. What does a call look like? Major considerations. What's your walk with Jesus like? Will your relationships be affected? Yes. Jesus said so. It's in the Bible. It's biblical. What do finances look like? Here, I want you to hear this here. If God's called you, he's going to fund you. He's going to help you raise your support. It may seem overwhelming at first, but God's got it. You have to trust him in this too. And it will be one of the most faith-building and encouraging and humbling things you can do. So don't let finances stop you. I don't care. You don't have to pay for it yourself. You're not supposed to pay for it yourself. So I get on a lot of soapboxes. That's one of the soapboxes I'll happily get on now. And Matt knows I get on that one for sure.
Herschel, what about if I want to go with a group of friends? Let's say that, I'm in a fraternity or something and I've got some buddies that I want to take with me. Is it possible to do teams with SIM at all? And what?
Yes, depending on the country and how they're set up. I know Nigeria is set up for that. They'd love to. And you saw, if you watched the intern video, the launch internship video, there were at least a couple people there serving in Nigeria. That's where I served. It was really cool. If you're pre-med, I don't know if you noticed that, the pre-med student was going to surgeries. I mean, what an opportunity. You can't really do that here, but you can do that in some other countries. And don't worry, they're not going to let you cut anybody open. But there are things you can watch and you can be right there and understand what it's like. So I think the opportunity and the experience is fantastic. It is life-changing. Yeah. Well, Cody, I thank you. I thank Baylor. I don't think we need to take any extra time. We can if you really want to fill up 5 more minutes, but I figure that's good.
Yeah, I will call it. And the links work, and so I'll make sure I pulled them up. So in case they don't
Awesome.
show up in the recording, we will have them that we can send. But thank you for your time.
Hey,
We
thank you, Matt.
appreciate
Thanks for hanging out with me.
Yeah,
Go
thanks for
Sim.
sharing.